rotor blades were screaming, ripping through the morning air like they were tearing apart the sky itself. Smoke billowed from the ravaged convoy down below. Radios crackled, lives hung on a thread. She looked at the two wounded Marines pinned behind a flipped Humvee. Nobody could reach them. "If I don't drop in with this Apache now," she muttered, "they die." But over the comms came the very words that had crushed her years before. "Lieutenant Hawkins, stand down. You are not authorized to fly attack operations. Repeat, stand down." Her fingers trembled over the trigger. Years of humiliation pressed against her lungs like ice. The voices came back, the laughter, the rejection, the words, "Women aren't built for this kind of aircraft." And then, a second voice over the radio, deep, calm, absolute. "This is Admiral Rise." She fly. Silence followed. Shock. Then, "Hawkins, proceed." She exhaled. Eyes narrowed, fingers steady. The Apache Dove. Lieutenant Emily Hawkins, 29 years old, born in a small town in Iowa. Daughter of a school teacher and a mechanic. Quiet but determined. Always the one to stay after class, to fix what others gave up on, to dream of things no one thought she should. When she was 7, she watched a rescue helicopter fly during a wildfire near their home. She stood on the hill, holding her father's hand. "That's flying for a purpose," she whispered. She never flew for thrill. She flew to protect. But from her first day at flight school, she felt the invisible target on her back. She was too quiet, too thoughtful, not aggressive enough, not the image of a combat pilot. She heard them murmur, "She's book smart, not battle smart. Too soft." The Apache eats people like her alive. The day of her simulator test, 2 instructors walked behind her. "Let her pass academics. She'll quit before deployment anyway." She pretended not to hear. She didn't quit. First day assigned to an Apache squadron. She'd worked for years, passed everything, perfect marks. But during hangar briefing, Major Collins, her commanding officer, tossed her file onto the table. Didn't look at her. "Men will fly tonight. Hawkins will observe." She raised her hand gently. "Sir, I'm mission qualified like the others." He didn't look up. "Hawkins, you're fast tracked because you're a PR thing. Real combat needs more than textbook maneuvers." A few pilots chuckled. She froze. Something inside her cracked, but didn't shatter. Later that night, in the flight line locker room, someone had taped a note onto her helmet. "The Apache doesn't need babysitting." She stood there alone, holding the helmet. She whispered, "I didn't come this far to watch." But that night, she watched through binoculars as others took to the sky. They returned loud, confident. She returned to quarters silent. 3 months later, different base, different mission. The humiliation escalated. During LEV fire training, she hit every target. Perfect simulation. But after, while cleaning gear, Captain Brooks walked past and muttered to others deliberately loud, "Girls hit targets in video games. Feel free to cheer." They erupted in laughter. She didn't cry. She waited until the hangar emptied. Then she sank to her knees on the cold floor, whispering into the dark, "Tell me I belong here." Just once. No answer. Her performance went into reports. Exceptional technical ability. Lacks field aggression. Recommendation observer role only. Her career was being slowly suffocated on paper. It was raining when Admiral Gabriel Reyes walked into the hangar, the first time she ever saw him. High-ranking, commanding presence. But walked like he carried more weight than he let show. He stopped where she was tidying up equipment. Because no one had spoken to her during the briefing. "Lieutenant Hawkins," he said. She straightened quickly. "Sir." He looked at her gear tools, meticulous and spotless. "Why aren't you on the flight roster?" She hesitated. Before she could answer, Major Collins cut in from behind. "For observation only, sir. She's capable. But we're not risking operational readiness." Admiral Reyes turned slowly toward Collins. "Risking operational readiness." He repeated the phrase like tasting something bitter. Then he looked at Hawkins. "Lieutenant. Wheels up with me next sortie. You fly." Collins froze. "Sir, that's not standard protocol." Reyes didn't shift his gaze from Emily. Neither was Normandy. He handed her a flight card. She couldn't speak. She watched the Admiral walk away, as if he hadn't just shattered the ceiling above her. But the twist came days later. She was summoned to a private briefing. Admiral Reyes stood alone. He motioned her to sit. His eyes, cold steel, softened by something familiar. "I knew your father," he said quietly. She stared. "My father?" "Sir," he nodded. Sergeant Thomas Hawkins, Afghanistan, 2006. I arrived too late, her breath caught. You were on that mission, she whispered. He nodded. Your father dragged 2 wounded men under fire for hours. He refused evac until everyone else was on the bird. He radioed me. Said, tell my little girl to chase the sky if that's where her heart lives. Emily covered her mouth. Her father died when she was 9. She had only fragments of memory. Admiral Reyes leaned forward. I have carried that message for 20 years. When I saw your name, I saw the only one left who still had the right to fly with that conviction. Tears streamed silently. But they refused to let you fly. His voice hardened. He saved me. I won't fail his daughter. He ordered her into advanced combat simulation, away from the eyes of doubters. Show me how far they underestimated you, he commanded. She trained every night, slept in cockpits, pushed beyond exhaustion. He watched from the control room, never intervening, only observing, calculating. During one simulation, 4 enemy drones, complex terrain, 0 visibility. She executed a micro-flank maneuver taught nowhere in manuals. He smiled. It was the first time she saw him smile. You don't fight like them, he said. She braced for criticism. You fight like someone with something to protect. Weeks passed. Rumors circulated. Some mocked her new babysitter. Others feared something was shifting. He called tactical meetings, quoting her strategies without using her name, letting others unknowingly respect her mind. Then one day, the call came. Collins proposed drones. Admiral Reyes refused. We send Hawkins. The room went silent. Collins stepped forward, furious. Sir, that's reckless. She's never flown combat. She's a liability. Reyes walked toward Collins slowly. I've flown combat. I've lost pilots. I know a liability. He pointed at Emily. That is not one of them. Collins clenched his fists. If she fails, Reyes cut him off. She won't fail. But if she does, I'll take full responsibility before the court and nation. Silence thundered. Emily stepped forward quietly. Sir, if I don't come back. Reyes' eyes softened. Then failure is mine. Because I taught you. She nodded. Then he whispered, as she passed him to the flight deck. He would be proud. Don't fly like they do. Fly like you. The scene cuts just as she climbs into the Apache. Rain striking the windshield, engines roaring. Her comm channels activate. The same voice that once denied her, Lieutenant Hawkins, stand down. Before he finishes, Admiral Reyes. She flies. The Apache rumbled like a living beast beneath her as Emily lifted off the tarmac. The rain hammered the glass canopy, streaking like tears she'd never allowed herself to shed in public. Lieutenant Hawkins, you are clear for aerial support, the tactical controller announced. Her heart pounded, not from fear, but from clarity. I am not flying to prove them wrong, she thought. I'm flying to save them. As she approached the ambush site, smoke plumed like claws trying to reach the sky. The convoy was pinned against a rocky outcropping. 2 Humvees flipped, enemy gunfire relentless. Through her scope, she spotted movement, Marines crawling, one dragging another. She aligned the targeting system. Over comms, she heard the familiar voice again. Major Collins. Abort. That zone is too hot. You'll crash or worse, hit our own men. She inhaled deeply. Negative. I'm engaging. Before he could respond, Admiral Reyes cut in. Hawkins, trust your instincts. She dove. The Apache sliced through the rain. Missiles fired, precise, surgical. One struck an RPG team seconds before they could target the wounded convoy. The explosion illuminated the storm. Another team appeared atop a dune. She rolled the helicopter onto its side, skimming the ridge. A maneuver not formally taught, but designed from years tweaking flight sims alone after others had left. Target locked. Boom. Radio erupted with disbelief. Who the hell was that? Eyes that Haw. That's Lieutenant Hawkins. And she just saved your ass. Minutes later, enemy resistance broke. But it wasn't over. A radar ping, something fast, too low. Hawkins, incoming drone strike! The controller shouted. She saw it, an enemy drone diving toward the survivors. There was no time. She pulled the Apache directly into its path. Emily, Reyes shouted. She fired at point-blank range. Impact. The blast surged through her tail rotor. The Apache spun violently. Altitude dropped. Warning alarms blared. She fought the controls. Eject! Collins yelled. Her teeth clenched. I'm not leaving them. She re-stabilized. Barely 20 feet above ground. Skidding through mud, kicking up debris. She landed hard, unplanned, but still inside enemy line proximity. 2 Marines ran to her, pulling her out as flames licked the airframe. One Marine, bleeding heavily, looked up at her. "You risked your life for us." Emily knelt. "That's why I fly." Hours later, medical tent, rain faded. Emily sat outside, covered in mud, bruised, still processing. She stared at her battered hands. Major Collins approached slowly. No arrogance now. Just silence. He opened his mouth, but she looked up first. "Sir, did I jeopardize operational readiness?" He paused, eyes lowered. "Lieutenant, I've been in command 15 years. I thought I knew combat instinct." He swallowed hard. "I was wrong." He extended his hand. "I'm glad you flew." She didn't shake his hand. Instead, she stood. "I didn't need permission to be what I already was." He nodded, shame visible. 2 weeks later, at the base tribunal. Paperwork filed by Collins attempting to preemptively absolve himself. Accusations about unauthorized maneuvering. She stood in dress uniform, eyes forward. Alone in the hearing room until the door opened. Admiral Reyes walked in. The entire board stood. "Proceed," the lead officer stated. Collins presented the case. Technically accurate concerns, but subtly shifting blame. Then they called Admiral Reyes. He approached the stand slowly. "State your role in the operation." Reyes looked directly at Collins. "I authorized Hawkins' mission." Board members exchanged glances. Knowing the risk. Knowing she was the best pilot in that room, silence. One officer cleared his throat. "Admiral, that statement contradicts personnel evaluations." Reyes stepped forward. Calm, powerful. "Her evaluations reflect bias. Her results reflect truth." He raised a tablet, playbacks of her combat feed. Maneuver by maneuver, lives saved. She flew with precision beyond regulation. Because regulations are written for average conditions, not extraordinary instinct. He then projected a short audio recording. "Tell my little girl to chase the sky." A hush fell. Reyes looked at Emily. "Your father saved my life. Now you've saved others. Pattern is clear." He turned to the board. "I recommend immediate clearance of Lieutenant Hawkins to full combat status and reclassification to Apache unit lead." Gasps. Collins stood halfway. "That's unprecedented." Reyes didn't even look at him. So was Normandy. Resolution, a viral ending weeks later. Emily stood beside her Apache, now repaired, repainted. On the side, 2 simple words, "Skyward Promise." Admiral Reyes approached quietly. "New mission?" he asked. She nodded. "Mountain rescue op, high winds." He smiled. "The kind your father would have volunteered for." She looked at the horizon. "The kind I was born for." He held out a small item. A worn military patch. Her father's. She placed it gently on her flight jacket. "Thank you," she whispered. Reyes looked into her eyes. A mixture of command and something like closure. "No. Thank you, for not letting them define you." She climbed into the cockpit. As rotors began to spin, a group of new recruits approached, watching with awe. A young woman among them whispered, "They said she wasn't built for combat." Her friend responded softly, "They were right." She narrowed her eyes. She was built to lead it. The Apache soared into the sky. "The world will tell you that you're not ready, not strong enough, not the type, but greatness isn't shaped by approval. It's forged in defiance and purpose. Fly for what you protect, not what you prove. Let